brought to you by Ferris Coffee. The thing that made them so good during the season, got them to this point, still stood true against Auburn, but so did the negative. So did the inability to shoot the basketball. Now, I think it's been an enjoyable ride for them. This is a preseason 5, depending on what poll you looked at, 4 or 5. Preseason 5, Big Ten Coach of the Year, best team in the Big Ten. No question about that. You win 3 games clear of your next closest opponent. You're the best team in the Big Ten. A deserved throughout the morning early on, but our producer, Trent Valley, has been able to work quickly and fix it for us. Tigers are going to open up 3-game set in Seattle tonight, still in search of their first win. Jackson Jobe, all fired up, making his season debut and first ever Major League start. Remember, a couple of games last year in the playoffs, but out of the bullpen. So he starts tonight. He's going to throw against Emerson Hancock. I remember when this kid was throwing for Georgia not too long ago, was a first-round pick, second-round pick, really good pitcher at Georgia. I was like, I wouldn't mind if the Tigers had a guy like that coming out and throwing for them in the near future. He went 4-4 last season. He's got a really live arm. Seattle, by the way, beat Oakland yesterday 2-1, so they are 2-2 on the season. Red Wings off until tomorrow when they visit St. Louis. They sit 3 points back of the final playoff spot. Montreal doubled up Florida yesterday 4-2. So they've got 77 points. Ottawa lost 1-0 to Pittsburgh. I don't know how much that matters because Ottawa's going to be in the playoffs, I think, unless they have a total collapse. And I don't see that happening from a pretty good team. They're the number 1 seed in the wild card standings as we speak. Alexander Ovechkin did score a tip-in goal in the third in the Caps 8-5 loss to Buffalo. Now has 890 career goals, 5 away from passing Wayne Gretzky. 39-year-old has 37 tallies on the year, should reach 40 for the 14th time in his career. That would be an NHL record. He already has it. Remember, he missed 16 games. 16 games. I think it's because he had a broken left fibula, something not right there with the left leg. Either way, I mean, he missed a lot of time. Thinking if he had been healthy for those 16 games, he's an amazing athlete. We talk so much about LeBron James, and for good reason. This dude is equally as impressive, especially when you come back from an injury like that. He didn't need a wheelchair, okay, coming off the ice. Texas Children's Open in Houston goes to Minwoo Lee, carded a 67 on Sunday to finish 20 under par. First ever PGA Tour win, held off Scotty Scheffler, who dropped in a 7 under 63 yesterday. One shot back, tied with Gary Woodland, who's an unbelievable story, having brain cancer not too long ago. Here's the poll question. Was the season for Michigan and Michigan State a success? Yes for both. Neither. For Michigan, yes. Michigan State, no. Michigan State, yes. Michigan, no. You can vote as often as you like. I'm sure Trent will clean that up a little bit. I may not be worded the best, but you can vote as often as you like at XB Mornings on Twitter, and we will give you the results tomorrow in the 8 o'clock hour. All right, so the Pistons lose to Minnesota. When did it start? Okay, there's a part of me that loves, Isaiah Stewart holding the jersey out, screaming Detroit, all these things. And I immediately look on social media. People love it. People in Detroit love it.
They do.
They just embrace it because it takes them back to when Lambeer and Mahorn and Rodman and Sally and guys like that played with an edge. Cool. Takes them back to when Wallace, right, and Rasheed Wallace and Corliss Williamson and those guys played with an edge. Cool. I like it too. Obviously, our favorite times in Pistons lore. The problem I have with it is, and this is a fine line. It's so easy for me to say this. But the problem I have with it, when you're already down your superstar, you're down one of your starters, 2 guys. You're down 2 guys already. Two big contributors. You got to know when to get into a fray like that and when not to. Now, the emotions take over. So there before the grace of God go I. All right? Absolutely. You would expect it. The fine line is I got to stand up for my teammate. Trent Bally gets in a fight, I'm there to help him, right? On the other hand, if you get too involved and you get ejected, now suddenly you're down 5 key contributors. And that's exactly what happened. It happened with Isaiah Stewart. It happened with Marcus Sasser, who's been really good as of late. And it happened, of course, with Ron Holland. How did this take place? It's a good question. I mean, there's a part of me that I don't know what Naz Reid is doing. Like I thought, first of all, originally I see Ron Holland come across. If it's a foul, I thought he got a lot of ball, but I'll give the referees, okay, he got, besides ball, he also got arm, maybe a little bit of bump there. Okay, it's a foul. I don't know what Naz Reid is turning and waving his finger at. That confused me. On the other hand, earlier in the game, and this was chippy, hockey term, early on, there was an attitude, Seinfeld episode. You have an attitude. Yes, both teams had an attitude, and there's nothing wrong with that either. Look, don't bitch about the fact that it's a mamby-pansy league and it's a ticky-tack league and all this other stuff. And then when you get some aggressiveness and toughness and hard fouls and stuff, start complaining about it. You can't have it both ways. But there was a time where during a timeout, Isaiah Stewart and Dante DiVincenzo go chest to chest, bump each other a little bit. Then DiVincenzo is going inside, trying to drive on Simone Fontecchio, falls over him, foul is called. DiVincenzo rolls on his back. He's got the basketball, and Isaiah Stewart comes up and tries to knock it out of his hands. Okay. So I want you to put yourself, just for a moment, as a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, how do you interpret that? Is it Isaiah Stewart going over the top? Is it Isaiah Stewart doing something you don't have to do? It's not like he's trying to grab the ball, quickly go to the baseline, inbound it, so Detroit can get an odd man rush. I didn't understand that. Just like I didn't understand Naz Reid waving his finger at Ron Holland. Ron Holland commits a foul, so be it. You're supposed to give him an uncontested layup? Give me a break, man. I mean, this is what I mean about certain attitudes, edges, certain players acting a certain way. To me, it made no sense whatsoever. Does Detroit bring it on? Yes, they do. Yep. Detroit now has that type of reputation. I'm sure this is what they've wanted, and I'm all for it. But you've got to expect the opposing team to stand up to you, just like you have been telling everybody you're going to stand up to them. It happened from the opening jump on the opening day. Detroit is going to be different this year than they have been in the past. They're not going to be a rollover team like they were a year ago, like they have been for the past 4 or 5 years or so. It's not going to be one of those situations where we're just going to take it, smile, turn the other cheek, and move on. They are going to answer your physicality, your toughness, your edge with their own, and maybe even trumpet. With that said, now that they have built a reputation through 3/4 of a basketball season and then some, other teams are going to say, part of the scouting report is what? We have to match their aggression. We have to match their physicality. We have to make sure we don't back down. Really, if you think about it, to a certain extent, the roles have been reversed. So you have to expect this coming in. There is going to come a point in time, though, where you're looking at one another and you're saying, okay, I like Isaiah Stewart. Trent's a big fan of Isaiah Stewart. I like beef stew, but what are you doing? At some point, are you not going, okay, can you reel it in just for a moment? Now, maybe that's him to the edge. This is a new one, though. He over the last 2 years is when it's really more this year than I would even say last. This is who he's become. Is that fair? I don't think he was like this a couple of years ago, was he? Maybe this is him. He needs to get to the very edge for a self-inspired game. That could be. I would like to see more results. I'd like to see better statistics in that game, but that might be him. When are Detroit fans going to go, okay, can we please do what's best for the team overall?
Especially because now, I mean, he is such a passionate player and he is such a big part of the team, in my opinion, that he's going to get suspended. So this is hurting the team in the big picture because
We didn't have a problem with Rasheed Wallace getting suspended, though.
No, and that's fair. But Rasheed Wallace is a much better player. But you get my point, which is
you're 100% right. I'm glad you said that. I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, wait, hold on. Don't make that comparison, because Rasheed Wallace could shoot threes. He could.
He was like your third best player.
One of the most gifted players in the NBA. I used to love hosting shows when people go, when he wants to. I'm like, stop. Hold on a second. When he wants to. So you're telling me that every other night he really wants to? Give me a break, man. But we loved him. But I digress. No, you're 100% right about that. You can't compare that. My reason for the comparison is that we could live with his technical fouls. And the reason you could live with them is because of just how good they were.
Yeah.
This team is not to that point yet. I'm not going to compare this team and that player to another player from that team when that team was winning, playing in Eastern Conference championships year in and year out. We're not there yet. And you have to understand the situation. It's always befuddled me how fans will say, God, you got to know what's going on about a certain baseball team, or a certain football situation. God, you only got one timeout. Why would you stay in bounds? You've got to understand the situation. It's a fair point. Why aren't you bringing guys in at the corners? You got to understand the situation. He might bunt. It's a fair point. You're on a power play. Why would you dump it? That's icing. You understand the situation, man. You've got a chance for a power play. Settle things down. It's a fair point. You're down 2 starters, and you're going to shove people into the first row, start throwing punches. You don't think that you're going to get suspended, kicked out, at worst, a technical foul? Understand the situation. Why doesn't it apply here? Oh, that's right. Because now he gets to go like this and say Detroit and give you an attitude. That's why. What if he's suspended for more than one game?
I think he will. He should.
Should. I mean, if you're looking at it objectively, I know this is difficult to do in today's society. It's hard to look at things objectively. If you are, you would say absolutely.
Minimum 2 games.
If Anthony Edwards does that to Cade Cunningham, well, Dante DiVincenzo is not Cade Cunningham. Give me an example, okay? If it's Malik Beasley, are you not asking for that?
Oh, fans are losing their minds.
Losing their mind over it, and rightfully so.
Yes.
How does that help your team? If he's as important as you said he is, Trent, how does that help your team? Now, there's a part of me that goes, I love that he's standing up for his teammate. It's one of the things I learned from Kirk Gibson first and foremost, early on working with him. He would look at the dugout. Who's the first guy out to congratulate? Trent Bally just hits a home run. Who's the first one out to congratulate him? Trent Bally's in a mix-up. Who's the first one out to defend him, right? Miguel Cabrera's fighting Austin Romine. Who's the first guy out there to try and help him, right? So I see that. Yeah. I'm recognizing that. He comes to his teammates' defense. That's awesome. I love that. Happens in hockey all the time, doesn't it? Can't compare the sports. One, it's acceptable. You get 2 minutes and then you're out. The other, it's not. You're ejected from the game and you might get multiple game suspension. But if he's that important to this team, why is he acting this way, knowing full well this is not game 15, man? You can applaud this. You can buy a T-shirt. You can wear a hat with his number and all that other crap on it. But what if this costs you a playoff seed? And I don't mean just the 4. What if suddenly you go in you got to go to OKC on Wednesday? What if you get leapfrogged? I know. I mean, I'm just asking. I'm asking a simple question.
No, it's a good question, though, too, because you're exactly right. This is you have to understand the consequences.
Situation. Absolutely.
Like, it's all good. It's all good if you want to be grit and tough and all that. But, like, when you start getting in fights and getting ejected from games, and now you're going to get suspended and miss games, this is not last year's Pistons.
This is not a heavy screen, man.
Right.
This is not where you just get offensive foul going the other way. Well, he's going to have to turn his head next time. He's got to put his head on a swivel because Isaiah Stewart's coming to set a high screen. This is not that situation. Understand the situation. There are consequences. Trent, you're late for curfew. Guess what Dad said? Waiting for you by the front door saying, you know what? You ain't going out with those guys anymore. And your buddies are like, oh, man, come on, man, next weekend. Can't do it. Why? Because I keep coming home late. At some point,
you got to learn.
You got to learn. At some point, enough is enough. And I know what people are going to look. I'm a descending voice here today. Most people are like texting their buddies, calling their buddies. Man, we're back. This is so kick-ass right now. I love this. This is a long-term message. Is it? I hope it is. I really do. I hope I'm wrong when it comes to this. My concern is that, and let's face it, if you were around during the original Bad Boys, and I loved that era of Pistons basketball, they could overcome it. They were talented enough to overcome it. They were great. That team was great. It's one of the most underrated champions in the history of the NBA. I don't think it gets nearly enough. It gets overshadowed, and rightfully so, by Magic and the Lakers, Bird and the Celtics, Jordan and the Bulls. They deserve it. And now the Warriors with Curry and Green and Thompson and those guys. They absolutely deserve it. But the Pistons are right there. They were a dominant team for an extended period of time. They could overcome it. You know why? First of all, the league was much different then. Second of all, those guys had talent up the wazoo. They found different ways to beat you. This team, they need everybody rowing in the same direction. And they now have a reputation. It's warranted. It's something that you and I probably love, all right? It defines the city. This is not the Detroit Lions, where grit on the football field is a lot different than grit on the basketball field. If you're going to try and become what the Lions are on the basketball floor, you're going to have to pay the price. Because referees in basketball are not the same as referees in football. It's a different game. Sorry. I know you want the grit across the hat so you can wear it to LCA and cheer on Isaiah Stewart, but I want guys who are in it for the team. And if you need him on the floor and you need him in future games, he may have just hurt you a little bit. It's a fine line. Meyer Hotline, 866-838-4843. You can text us, Sports Radio, to 21,000. We're brought to you this hour by Ferris Coffee. This is X's and Bros across the state of Michigan.
Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Sumo, sushi, and sake. May 31st at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Witness a thrilling sumo exhibition and enjoy a curated tasting of sushi, sake, and Asian-inspired cocktails. 2 premium VIP packages available, pricing as low as $59. Performance only. Full pricing options and details at SoaringEagleCasino.com. Experience sumo, sushi, and sake. 7 p.m. May 31st at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious blueberries, money saved. a creamy treat of cookie dough ice cream. That's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also 10 points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
Huge here for my good friends at Insurant. Now they understand more than anybody that inflation has caused auto insurance premiums in our state to skyrocket. And Insurant was built to help people in Michigan comparison shop their auto insurance. A true one-stop shop for saving money. So stop overpaying. Call 231-COMPARE to get quotes today or visit insure.it. That is insure.it. Compare and save money right now.
Coming right at you. The excitement you've been waiting for. Eagle Casino and Sports. The mobile casino made in Michigan, made for Michigan. Play slots and table games with live dealers at one exciting site. PlayEagle.com. Sign up today and get a match deposit up to $1,500. That's right, up to $1,500 plus 100 free spins. Eagle Casino and Sports. Go to PlayEagle.com and start winning today. Must be 21 or older and in Michigan to play.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to Shep. Don't forget the huge show later today at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
8:18, we get your heel and hero of the weekend. Don't forget about that. Always look forward to that on a Monday morning. That's at 8:18. This hour brought to you by Meyer. Welcome back. Love this story, by the way. Lost in the Pistons skirmish with Minnesota. The Michigan State loss to Auburn. Opening day, the entire weekend of Tigers and Dodgers, and people saying, you know what this proves, don't you? I was playing golf with a couple buddies of mine yesterday morning. I know it was kind of cold. It was kind of rainy. We were the second people out. Didn't get any pressure really. Suddenly, right around the turn, people started coming out. But we were early, and I know a lot of people felt like, oh my God, why would you golf? I haven't golfed on a nice day yet, so it's been a little frustrating. But enjoyed it. Had a really good time yesterday, and I did notice something about golf, by the way, real quick. I have a hard time waiting now. I don't know if it's old age or what. I want to get out there. I want to but my wife and I go out to dinner the other night. We're done with dinner, and I said, all right, let's get the check. Let's roll. She's like, why can't we sit and just relax?
No.
And I said, well, here's part of the problem. First of all, it's super loud in here, which is fine. I mean, we went to a place where it was more younger people, and it's fine. It's great. I mean, it really is. It was a nice place, but I find myself, I have an inability now to just sit at a restaurant. I'd rather be at home. I feel like I'm wasting time. I don't know why. I really don't. But it's hard for me to just sit there and say, okay, because I'm probably more apt to buy another beer, and then suddenly the check goes up a little bit more. But I'm you can hear these people, they're so close to you, and suddenly, you're trying to engage with somebody, and then you've got all these other people talking, and you're just like, okay, can we just let's go home and let's have nice conversation at home and all this other stuff. Anyway, so same thing in golf, where it's like, okay, I want to go hit the ball. Let's get rolling. I want to make sure it's a 4-hour round. If it's longer than that, it's like, oh boy, we're venturing into territory where I become Isaiah Stewart and angry. So with all this stuff this weekend, perhaps lost in all of it was Western Michigan's accomplishment. And look, we've attempted to get Western on for a while. All right. So people in Kalamazoo, and I appreciate you listening on WMAX 96.1 FM, The Game. And I'm sure sometimes you're like, hey, how come, where's the love? How about a little something, for the effort? Well, we've tried. All right. It requires two people to do it. All right. So
takes two to tango.
Yeah.
We're going to keep trying, though.
So I'm going to give Western Michigan a ton of credit. I'm really happy for them. A lot of my good friends from grade school went to Western Michigan. How they got through, I have no idea, but we just really enjoyed it. Okay. And they're in the Frozen Four for the first time in program history. Pat Frischweiler's done a great job there, and I mean that, a great job. And I mean, this is a program that had 2 national championships. Both were in cross country, and now they're into the Frozen Four. There's another team in the Frozen Four for the first time as well, and that is Penn State. And you're up against some, dare I say, blue bloods. Denver is in as well, so kudos to them. And so is Boston University. So you got 2 newbies and 2 teams. I mean, BU probably has more of a blue blood program than Denver does, but look, Denver in lacrosse and hockey, pretty damn good. Kudos to Western Michigan. Really happy for them. It's unfortunate. It got kind of lost in the whole shuffle of all the other things that go on. Look, Grand Valley's women's team won a national championship. Did they not? That deserves a little attaboy or attagirl. There's so much to cover and so many things going on at this time of the year. When the Tigers are playing the Dodgers, that's where a lot of people are going to create some focus, because the Dodgers are the world champs, and you've been waiting for baseball since the Tigers were eliminated by Cleveland, right, in Game 5. So it's been a while, and you've been excited about that. Many people thought Michigan State had an opportunity. Greg Kampe did, the head coach at Oakland. He had MSU going to the Final Four, so there were a lot of people anticipating that. So I get it. There are certain events that trump everything.
They overtake
They do.
your attention. You can
overtake
only handle so much as a
they
sports
overtake
fan.
the narrative. That's what people are talking about, and that's part of our job. But part of our job too, as you know, is to make sure people are hearing about things that they may have missed, getting some recognition for some other places. That's why we give you some of the nuances. Like, you got busy lives, all right? You're taking kids to events. You've got work events taking place. You're trying to focus on your job and your yard and your house and all these other things, your car. We know you can't keep up with everything. That's why we give you the little snippets. Ottawa losing to Pittsburgh last night. Montreal beating Florida last night. Alexander Ovechkin getting goal number 890. All those little nuances that you may have overlooked. I hope, from the state of Michigan standpoint, that you at least had the opportunity to, if you couldn't check out Western Michigan winning 2-1 to reach the Final Four and having back-to-back dramatic 2-1 wins, 48 hours apart. Pretty awesome. And whether you believe in the USHC or whatever it is conference that they play in, whether you believe that deserves some recognition, doesn't really matter, because they were a 1 seed. The NCHC is what I meant to say. They were a 1 seed, and they may not have been the highest 1 seed, but if you want some March Madness, right? We were talking about earlier, no March Madness supposedly in the NCAA tournament. Fewest low seeds to ever advance. What they determine as a low seed, that's up to them, I suppose. But it's just the second time in history where you've had all 1 seeds. Well, in college hockey, can a 1 seed be a Cinderella? When they've never been there before, it's pretty damn close.
There's that element of, until you do it, it's hard to trust. Like when the Lions were trying to win that division 2 years ago for the first time ever. I know they were favored to do it, and like you said, they might not have been a Cinderella or an underdog, but until the Lions win the NFC North, you're never going to actually believe they can.
Yeah.
In my mind, they had to do it.
But the problem is, they've won division titles before.
Yeah, it was the realignment.
Okay?
Yeah.
And when I'm not going to totally disagree with you, but because we are so locked in on the NFL and we see how other other things happen, we've noticed, I'm sure you've noticed, that 6 teams or so, the history has been, they make the playoffs 1 year, they're out the next. So there's a shakeup. There is a revolving door at times. Nothing is guaranteed. There really isn't anything in college hockey either. There's just no publicity for college hockey whatsoever. Unfortunately,
that's
there
fair.
used to be. I like when I first started working at Fox Sports Detroit. It was known then. We were calling CCHA games regularly. Every weekend we had a CCHA game. It was awesome. We had a weekly show too, and I blame the conference. I blame the NCAA. I blame the network, and I blame advertisers.
That's great, though, the exposure that they had at that time.
It was great.
Yeah.
Remember when the Big Ten Network started? I don't know
Yes.
if you do recall this. The very first year, they went all out in college hockey. Right after that, after the first year, because I was part of it. I called a lot of college hockey for them. Right after that, cut it off.
Yikes.
As limited amount as possible is what they've done. And college hockey doesn't do a thing about it. NCAA doesn't do a thing about it. It's just a 2-sport driven committee. That's all it is. The NCAA association. It's just a 2-sport. It's strictly football and basketball. It's a little bit more now with women's college basketball, because ESPN's involved and you've got other networks. But hockey, they just ignore it, and it's just accepted by coaches, by administrations, by advertisers, right? It's really too bad. But kudos to Western Michigan. They beat UMass 2-1. They're into the Frozen Four. We'll play in St. Louis in a couple of weeks. This hour is brought to you by Meijer. Stay with us. Plenty to come, including here on Heels at 8:18.
Sumo, sushi, and sake. May 31st at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Witness a thrilling sumo exhibition and enjoy a curated tasting of sushi, sake, and Asian-inspired cocktails. 2 premium VIP packages available, pricing as low as $59. Performance only. Full pricing options and details at SoaringEagleCasino.com. Experience sumo, sushi, and sake. 7 p.m. May 31st at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious blueberries, money saved. A creamy treat of cookie dough ice cream, that's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also 10 points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
Coming right at you. The excitement you've been waiting for. Eagle Casino and Sports. The mobile casino made in Michigan, made for Michigan. Play slots and table games with live dealers at one exciting site. PlayEagle.com. Sign up today and get a match deposit up to $1,500. That's right, up to $1,500 plus 100 free spins. Eagle Casino and Sports. Go to PlayEagle.com and start winning today. Must be 21 or older and in Michigan to play.
This won't spur a lot of text or phone calls, but that's not what we're driven by. When Denver beat BC to reach the Frozen Four, and now we'll play in the semifinals in a couple of weeks in St. Louis. Western Michigan is there to play against BU, and Penn State's going to play Denver. Denver eliminated BC. Denver beat BC last year in the national championship. BC has one of the best players in the country. He's going to win the Hobie Baker Award. His name's Ryan Leonard. He's 19 years old, 30 goals, 19 assists. The 30 goals led the entire college hockey. He was the 8th overall pick by the Washington Capitals. He's a sophomore. In all likelihood, he's going to go right to Washington. He's not going to play on a line with Alexander Ovechkin, but people compare him to TJ Oshie. He might be like a bottom 6 forward for Washington, playing on a team that's got a chance to win a Stanley Cup. How incredible would that be? That would be special. See, I think hockey does it right. I've said this forever, but I'll say it again in case you're new to the show or you haven't heard it before. Hockey drafts you. They draft Ryan Leonard, and then they decide what's best for you and the organization. How are you going to help? When can you help? Okay, so what they do is they say, stay at BC. You're not ready to play in the National Hockey League yet. You're not ready to play in the American Hockey League.
Yeah, they don't want to waste your time.
So stay there. Keep getting really good tutor. Have the experience. Enjoy it. Improve your game. We'll reevaluate after the following season. The next year. Yeah, you look good, but you're not quite there yet. Let's keep you there another year and see what happens. Now, many people feel like, Washington feels like, Ryan Leonard's camp feels like, we're ready to go. Now, he may go to Hershey. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But bottom line is, he's going to be a pro. He's going to go from this season at BC to being a professional in the same season. People forget the NBA. There's a lot of different things that the NBA used to do. But when you had Larry Bird, he played another year at Indiana State. He played against Magic Johnson, Greg Kelser, Ron Charles, Terry Donnelly, and the rest, Jay Vincent, and Michigan State in 1979, knowing that he had already been drafted by the Boston Celtics 6th overall. The following year, he went to Boston. He could have left, but he chose to stay another year. I don't know why basketball doesn't do that. I suppose it has something to do with agents and so on and so forth. But speaking of agents, by the way, did you see what Kevin Willard said the other day? The Maryland head coach, now the Villanova head coach. He was ripping on the transfer portal and ripping on NIL. You know what? Let me take that back. He was complaining about it. And he was just saying how every player has an agent. So I'm trying to recruit Trent Bally. Trent Bally's getting 1.4 from MSU. He's getting 1.2 from Minnesota because Minnesota doesn't know what they're doing. And he's getting 1.8 from UCLA. So you got to top that. I mean, that's what he was complaining about. He did that, I think, before their Sweet 16 game.
Yeah.
I think. He leaves for Villanova. This is what it's a terrible look. Look, I'm not going to sit there and stand in the way of coaches. It's a terrible look, though.
Well, it's just incredibly ironic, right?
Well, I mean, it's what it is.
For you to get on a soapbox, yes,
I mean,
there you go.
It's happening constantly. I don't know if Richard Pitino did it before he left. I don't know. There's plenty of coaches. Coaches leave all the time. I used to ask this of college athletes. I used to say, why are you going to the school? What made you pick this school? Was it, I think there's a number of factors. How they rank depends on the individual. Is it because of education? Is it because of the chance to win a national championship? Is it because of facilities? Is it because of coaches? Is it because of the chance to play right away? Is it because this gives you the best avenue toward reaching the next level? Does it open up a door for you now? Does it open up a door for you to go to a bigger program? There are so many factors involved. I don't know what the most important one is, and neither do you, because it is all based on individuals. How many of them, at least in football, a lot of times they'll go where their position coach is. It's not always the head coach. But how many of them are going to Tennessee strictly because of Rick Barnes? Or is it because they like Knoxville, they like the experience, they love the campus, they love what it offers? I don't know. I mean, is Trey Hallman going to Michigan State because it's got a great agricultural program? Hey, you know what? I want to get into chain management. This is the place to go, no question, right?
Yeah, you're especially right in this day and age, though, where guys, there's no penalty for hopping around. They can just no
penalty, and you know what?
They can just pick up and leave and get paid more somewhere else, and not even have to sit out a year like they used to.
But then you'll have people in our position, and I can't help but wonder: are they right or are they wrong? Saying, "Well, how come it's okay for coaches to do that? They're professionals."
Yeah.
Right. I've said this. I don't know if this is the right anecdote, but I've said this about the NCAA. Since there are no guardrails, and it's hard to put those in once, it's tough to grab that
this thing's in motion.
Back in the bottle, okay?
Yep.
But if you're going to do something, if you had the foresight, and if you could try and push it forward now before we get too far along, and we're pretty far along as it is, if the guardrails are this, let's do this. You can transfer once. You got to give a university 2 years unless the coach who recruited you leaves. There's your out. There's your opt-out.
And that's a fair opt-out too. I mean, I've heard people make that argument as well. I think it makes complete sense.
Then you don't always have guys. And by the way, the other thing is this: if you're going to stay, and you've signed an NIL deal, that's binding too.
Yeah.
It can't be a penalty only for the student athlete, right? If Trent Balley gets recruited by Tom Izzo and he says, okay, I'm willing to give you 2 years. That's freshman and sophomore year. But after his freshman year, Izzo says, I'm retiring. I'm tired, done a great job. I'm a Hall of Famer, best coach in Big Ten history with an asterisk because it could be Bobby Knight. Then people say, okay, I get it. Trent went there for Izzo.
Yeah, you shouldn't be bound
He didn't go there for supply chain management. He decides to go, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave. Okay. NCAA should honor it. Then wherever you go, 2 years. It's got to be 2 years. Okay. It forces some accountability, I believe. I'm not here to fix the NCAA's problems. They should have thought of this a long time ago. They should have anticipated this. This is what their job is. If people in the media, like yours truly, were anticipating this, free agency, that's what I said it was going to be, free agency, and the next step is unionization. There will be unionization coming soon,
yeah.
Okay? Because they're going to become employees of the university is what's going to happen. What should really happen is, what would be really smart, if you've got some private multi-billion-dollar investors, what they would do is they would just buy a league and put the Power Four teams in the league. It'd be the NFL, but it would be the NCAAFL, whatever. That's what's I think could possibly happen down the road. But there's the guardrails. This stems from what I was talking about with college hockey. Ryan Leonard is going to go right from college after 2 years. They feel like he's ready. Players always feel like they're ready, but sometimes they need a dose of reality. And he'll be part of the Washington Capitals. What an experience! But he didn't get there based on being, an honorable mention all conference. He's an All-American. He's one of the best players in the country. Phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. You can text to Sports Radio to 21,000. We're brought to you this hour by Meyer, and this is X's and Bros.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious blueberries, money saved. A creamy treat of cookie dough ice cream, that's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also 10 points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
Attention Michigan fans, it isn't a Michigan game day without a Michigan-made beer. Founders Brewing Company, a proud supporter of the University of Michigan Athletics Department, has the perfect beer for you with their Michigan Pilsner. Crafted with only the best locally sourced Michigan hops and the highest quality ingredients to deliver a smooth, crisp taste. Upgrade your game day traditions with their easy drinking Michigan Pilsner. Founders Brewing Company, proud sponsor of Michigan Athletics. Welcome to Craft. What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The huge show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
In the Den.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings app today. Use the code HUGE for a special offer when you sign up. That's code HUGE only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The Tigers hung with the Dodgers for the 3-game series to start the year, but home run power and clutch hitting were the difference in the set. Detroit had more hits and had more walks in the series, but they were out-homered 9-3, and the defending world champions were 6 for 15 with runners in scoring position, while the Tigers were a disappointing 4 for 32 in the same situation. Tonight, Detroit starts a 3-game series in Seattle. Now, the Mariners are off to a 2-2 start after a 2-1 win over Oakland on Sunday. Jackson Jobe will make his first career major league start for the Tigers. He's earned it, but he's going to have to be better than his spring numbers when he allowed 7 earned runs and 5 homers in 16 innings of work. He'll have some ups and downs this year, no doubt, so be ready for it. But he is, without question, one of the Tigers' top 4 starters. Saw a video the other day about laying down bunts. Yes, it's a pun on the song, Lay It Down. And somebody had tweeted, I think it was Baseball History, we need this in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. And I retweeted. I've been saying this for over 10 years. Major League Baseball All-Star Game could really help the game if it showcased other skill sets other than just home run derby. Welcome back. X's and Bros with you Monday through Friday, 6 until 9 throughout the state of Michigan. The phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. You can text us sports radio to 21,000. Baseball might have a new problem. The Yankees, who are a plus 22 in run scoring differential, by the way, hit 15 home runs against Milwaukee, 9 in a game. Not all of them using torpedo bats. We'll get to that coming up here. But I saw something over the weekend that made me go, what the hell's going on here? We're 3 games deep. The Tigers are 3 games deep. They're 0-3 after losing to the Dodgers. You probably watched a lot of the games. They lost 5-4, 8-5, and 7-3. And the belief by many Detroit sports media is that's okay. The Dodgers are the best team in baseball. Detroit proved they can hang with them. That's the theme. I don't think it proves a damn thing, quite honestly. It's 3 games in a 162-game schedule. It's ridiculous to come to any conclusion. There is no conclusion right now. Folks, I hate to tell you this, but Pittsburgh last year beat Baltimore in a series. Miami beat Detroit and the Mets in a series. Both teams made the postseason. The Angels, who stunk last year, swept San Diego. This doesn't prove a damn thing. It doesn't prove that the Dodgers are invincible, and it doesn't prove that the Tigers can hang with anybody. It's 3 games. Pump the brakes. Sit back and wait a little while. You're not coming to a conclusion that this team can hang with anybody over 3 flipping games. You need inches to write in a column. Be creative and find something else. Okay? But coming up with the idea that, yes, because the Tigers took the Dodgers to extra innings in one game, game 2, because they only lost by a run in one game, game 1, means that they can hang with anybody.
And they had the lead in all 3 games.
When somebody comes back after they're hurt, Gleyber Torres, when he finally gets back, and when they get Vierling back, and when they get Parker Meadows back, everything's going to be fine. I'm not saying it's not going to be. I'm just saying let's be careful on how quickly we want to judge things, because it's a knee-jerk reaction world. Last year, were you saying the same thing when this team was stinking up every joint that it visited, including the one where it plays its home games early on before it needed a 31-11 run down the stretch?
No, nobody was saying anything.
But you know what you were saying at the All-Star break? You were saying trade. Get as much as you can for this guy and that guy. Oh, and this guy too. 3 games against the defending world champions hasn't told you a damn thing. It's ridiculous to assume that it has. If that's the case, are you willing to go so far as to say, let's pick a player? Spencer Torkelson is fixed. Trent, he's 4 for 9 with 5 walks. It's a pretty good start, don't you think?
He looks pretty good.
He looks pretty damn good. He's batting 444. He's been on base. You know why you're not convinced? Besides last year? Because you realize that baseball can be very volatile.
Yeah, in 3 games.
You can be up and down. You're going to ride the wave up, and you're going to ride the wave down. Are you going to jump off anytime soon? Are you going to jump on? Somebody keeps tweeting out, hey, if you're not with us at 0-3, then you're not going to be with us at 159-3. Oh, my God.
I'm sure you love that.
Oh, yeah. It's classic. I can't imagine if I had tweeted that. People are like, you homer, God forbid. This is a joke, man. It's an absolute farce. And I hope people see it. I hope baseball fans understand it. I hope baseball fans, because you've been a fan for so long, realize that this tells you nothing and that you're going to have a lot of peaks and valleys. It's really the beauty of what baseball is. You can feel so good after a game. And then there's other times where you feel like your team can't win another game. Golfing with one of my friends yesterday. He's like, man, the Tigers, they just can't come up with that big hit. I said, I get it. I get it. I said, you realize it's only 3 games, man. I mean, I know you're emotionally attached and you're going to continue to do that. That's a 162 game emotional wave that you're going through. It's a roller coaster. And look, I've lived it for over 5 years. I was in that booth rooting so hard. I went through some painful moments, man, with that team.
Yes, you did.
Oof, really tough times. So no one's rooting for him as hard as I am, but it was tough when you get to know people, you're prepping for things, and then you suddenly realize, man, they're down 11-0. Everybody's clicking on a second coming of Golden Girls. You know what I mean? It's a really tough thing to do, but you've got to stay. You can't stay in the moment. You've got to just realize that this is going to happen. Now, look, there's going to come a point in time where you and I are talking 70 games deep, and we're going to think we understand what this team is. You're going to, and if it's a negative thought, I may bring that up, and I may get a text, I may get a phone call on the Meyer hotline, I may get somebody chiming in saying, you know what, you thought the same thing a year ago, and look at the run they went on. I think that's the exception to the rule.
It is.
And the reason it's the exception to the rule is because you have recognized what they did last year hasn't been done by anybody else in the history of the game. It
was a historic run.
0.02% chance of making the playoffs, and yet they did it. That tells you that doesn't happen very often.
It's not sustainable, which is what a lot of people were saying coming into this season.
No way it's sustainable.
You can't do the pitching chaos thing again.
Well, I don't think so either. That's not the way I would want to build it. But there are new arms. There are new arms in the starting rotation and in the bullpen. So for when we say, and I've said it too, Trent, you can't do that. It's not the recipe for success. I would caution us, me collectively, okay, involved in this, saying that you can't do it. They've got different arms. So maybe you can do it. It has to be done with different people. Now, it hasn't turned out very good right so far, but we don't know. All right. I'm not going to sit there. I wouldn't want that. That would not be my recipe for success. But as I've said before, other teams have done it. You don't find the Kansas City Royals of last year very often, where you've got starters going deep in games and you've got starters starting as many games.
Yeah, especially not in this day and age. That's a good point.
And then the other thing is, did the Royals win a championship by doing this? Yes or no? Absolutely, they did. Kelvin Herrera, Greg Holland. They had guys at Wade Davis. They had guys at the back end, 7, 8, and 9. Now, again, you can't do that every game because their arms will fall off. All I'm telling you is that it wouldn't be the way I want to build a team. I wouldn't want to go into this season thinking, you know what? We've done it before. We'll do it again. Rah, rah, rah. I would like more stability in my starting pitching, and I would like more offense. And if you look at home runs, look at the difference in the series. The difference in the series was runners in scoring position, the ability to get the clutch hit for sure. But LA had 3 times as many home runs. And I know you're shaking your head, Shep. I mean, you get so caught up in the home runs. It's not even as much about the homers. It's the power.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not going to look at the Yankees and their 15 homers against the Brewers because that's a launching pad in New York. The Bronx is an absolute launching pad. I'm not saying Aaron Judge wouldn't have done it someplace else, but it would be much more challenging without the turbo bats and without the short porches on each side.
It has to be brought up.
It has to be brought up. Comerica Park is different. If you're not hitting homers in LA, 3, are you going to be able to hit them in Detroit? And are you going to be able to hit them in Seattle? Are you going to be able to hit them in Kansas City? Those are different ballparks. Seattle can be a tough place to hit homers. Let's get to the text line. You text us by going sports radio to 21,000. What do we got?
I know it's early, but can we be done with Reese Olson? He's not a starter. He's more of a 1 to 2 inning, possible dominant back end guy. I watched Jeff Robinson for years be a meh fourth starter for 4 innings. Yawn. So add that to the list of potential overreactions here in the early going.
Okay.
I love the passion.
So let's. Is it passion or just bitching?
A little bit of both.
I love the care factor. Okay, let's look at it from the texter's point of view. All right, first and foremost, he started 18 games in 2023 and went 5-7 with an ERA of 4. Does it make you go, I can't wait to bring it back?
No.
Last year, through 112 innings, was injured, started 22 games, 4-8 with a 3.5 ERA.
Worse. Oh, not worse.
Not worse. No,
not by ERA metrics. No.
I don't always look at wins and losses, and I don't always look at earned run average. WHIP is an important statistic. It's walk hits per innings pitched. Last year, it was 118. Okay, if you're around 1, you're in pretty good shape. And he was around that.
Yeah, and he's your third guy.
And yeah, you have to look at it. But here's what the texter's thinking. This is my guess. The texter's going, hold on. This is supposed to be the strength of our team. Pitching in general, okay? I'm not saying just starters. I'm not just saying bullpen. Pitching in general. Skubal, you feel great about. Of course. Reese Olson, there's some questions. I think those are fair questions, okay? He's 9-16 with an ERA of close to 4, and he's got a career wins hits per innings pitch at 1.15, 1.16, which isn't terrible. He's going to keep you in some games, ground ball pitcher, all that other stuff. If he's your 2 or 3, rather, Jack Flaherty's your 2, Reese Olson your 3, Jackson Jobe your 4, Casey Mize your 5. I don't know what the level of confidence is from people. I sure as hell don't think he's Jeff Weaver, for crying out loud. He's got better movement. But in fairness to the texter, what has Reese Olson done to create this beaming wave of confidence from you? It's a wait and see type situation. I'm not going to judge him so early, but I'm sure as hell not thinking this rotation is set because he's our number 3. If he falters, if he continues to struggle, and I shouldn't even say that. It's not that he struggled. It's just that if he doesn't perform as expected, you can move him to the bullpen. Now, I would quickly ask you, who from that bullpen do you want as your starter? Is it Bo Brisky? Is it Kenta Maeda? Who is it?
Oh, I hope not.
Well, that's all I'm asking you. Wait a minute.
I know.
You and I both freak out when Kenta Maeda had a decent spring.
He did.
Okay, so Kenta Maeda has been a starter for an extended period of time in the major leagues, right?
He has, yes.
Okay. All right, so I'm judging him based on last year, what I saw. I didn't like the signing, you know that. I wouldn't be thrilled if he was a starter, but I try to look at both sides. You and I aren't always right when it comes to this stuff.
Hell no.
So as much as you and I might be going, oh my God, are you going to keep throwing a young guy out there who is struggling, to the texter's point, struggling, or are you going to go to a guy who's going to go, you know what? I've been there. I've done that. I've been through this before.
Well, yeah, and this goes back, okay? Shep, this goes back to your whole
up.
thing about how we can't make assumptions one way or another after 3 games.
Right.
So it's if the texter's asking,
a 25-year-old guy who eventually could be a mid-level starter for you.
If the question's can we be done with Reese Olson, I'd say no.
Absolutely.
But I understand the frustration given the 2-season sample size and then his outing the other night. I get the frustration.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate the care factor, like you said.
Yeah, I think
it doesn't bother you if you don't care.
I think there's a part of me that feels like people are just thinking the momentum from last year is going to carry over. And I've said this time and time again. It's not the way it works. Here's what I would ask you. Do you trust Chris Fetter?
Absolutely.
Okay. Giving up on players, That's what I'm reading into what the texter said.
Yeah, that's what it would be.
Baltimore gave up on Jack Flaherty. Probably not the best move. They could probably use him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you have to be very careful there. If you trust Chris Fetter, if you understand Reese Olson's 25, if you understand other teams have given up on players and those players have come here and gotten better, then you believe that this is a guy who should be given a little bit longer of a leash. Not to mention the fact that you don't have many choices to supplant him from your bullpen right now. You could send him down because he's got options. You could send him down and bring somebody up. That would be pretty early to bring up a guy like Ty Madden or a Matt Manning and so on and so forth. No, it's nice to have that type of player within your system and feel like, you know what, if one of our guys struggles, Mize or Olson or Job, you can bring another guy up and give him a chance to sit back and kind of decompress, exhale, and see what's going on. I wouldn't give up on him. Like I said, he's 25. But I look at the texter's frustration, and you also recognize that his numbers overall have not been all that great. Our phone number on the Meijer hotline is 866-838-4843. You can text us, Sports Radio, to 21,000. Don't forget, 818. We've got our hero and heel. That is the best of the weekend and the worst of the weekend. It doesn't have to be an athlete. Doesn't have to be a team. But it could be a team, a coach, an organization, a university. It could be a fan base, for crying out loud. You could have a negative effect about a network, a show, whatever.
We've done it for like NBA officials before, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. You could do it for ESPN because they made a big deal on a huge night about beer cup traditions. You got the Final Four now set in both women's and men's basketball. You've got a brawl in the NBA. You've got Alexander Ovechkin scoring 890. You've got college hockey's Frozen Four. But let's
not talk about any of that
piece on beer cups and why it's really important in the UFL, the United Football League, that has not caught fire at all. All you have to do is look at the stands. Final hour of X's and Bros right around the corner. Glad you're with us on a Monday morning on the Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Saturday, July 26th, Rock and Roll Hall of Famers, Foreigner. Live at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort with special guests Loverboy and Night Ranger. Tickets start at $32 and are on sale now at the box office or online at etix.com. The Soaring Eagle Summer Outdoor Concert Series welcomes Foreigner with Loverboy and Night Ranger, July 26th. Showtime 7 p.m. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of saving a good deal more when you shop with M-Perks at Meijer. Some delicious blueberries, money saved. A creamy treat of cookie dough ice cream, that's money saved. Savings, savings, savings. Because every dollar spent is also 10 points earned in M-Perks, which you can use to save on your next grocery trip or up to $1 off per gallon on your next tank of gas. At Meijer, we work hard to help you save a good deal more for a whole lot less. That's bringing more good to life. Exclusions apply. See mperks.com for details.
Coming right at you, the excitement you've been waiting for. Eagle Casino and Sports, the mobile casino made in Michigan, made for Michigan. Play slots and table games with live dealers at one exciting site, playeagle.com. Sign up today and get a match deposit up to $1,500. That's right, up to $1,500 plus 100 free spins. Eagle Casino and Sports. Go to playeagle.com and start winning today. Must be 21 or older and in Michigan to play.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to Shep. Don't forget the huge show later today at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
In the den.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings app today. Use the code HUGE for a special offer when you sign up. That's code HUGE only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The Tigers hung with the Dodgers for the 3-game series to start the year, but home run power and clutch hitting were the difference in the set. Detroit had more hits and had more walks in the series, but they were out homered 9-3. And the defending world champions were 6 for 15 with runners in scoring position, while the Tigers were a disappointing 4 for 32 in the same situation. Tonight, Detroit starts a 3-game series in Seattle. Now, the Mariners are off to a 2-2 start after a 2-1 win over Oakland on Sunday. Jackson Jobe will make his first career major league start for the Tigers. He's earned it, but he's going to have to be better than his spring numbers when he allowed 7 earned runs and 5 homers in 16 innings of work. He'll have some ups and downs this year, no doubt, so be ready for it. But he is, without question, one of the Tigers' top 4 starters.
When you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
Home run! Home run! He hit it a mile!
Let's give them the keys to the Hall of Fame, but not tonight. Tonight they are in the Stanley Cup. Steve Eisenman, come get it.
It feels like heaven must be lying. I got one question for you, Michigan Nation. Who's got it better than us?
Right center field. That's got carry. It's gone. Number 500 and history for Miguel Cabrera.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions! Yes. This game is over!
Let's put the kill.
They score! Red Wings win. Detroit basketball!
Final hour of the program. We're brought to you this hour by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. It is there. We're on Thursday. Bill Simonson will draw a name. You've got to be in there in person to go to the Tigers home opener on Friday. That's when Detroit takes on the Chicago White Sox, and we want you to go. How do you register? Easy. Text Tigers to 21,000. It's pretty simple, right? Got to be there in person, though, and what you're going to get out of it is a Thursday night dinner at Ruth Chris at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. You're going to get a 2-night stay at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. You're going to get transportation to and from the Tigers home opener against the Chicago White Sox. And you and a friend are going to really enjoy the home opener at Comerica Park on Friday. All you got to do, text Tigers to 21,000. Billy will draw it on Thursday. And then Friday, if you don't get a chance to go to the game and you want to go to the watch party, it'll take place on Friday afternoon. Yours truly and Craig Monroe will be at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort and their sports book, Ascend, to watch the Tigers and the White Sox. And we will talk baseball with you all morning/afternoon long. Okay? Hope you get an opportunity to do that. White Sox at least have a win. They're 1-2. We were saying just before the break, the Yankees, I mean, baseball, they're going to have a problem on their hands if they don't already. The torpedo bats, I don't know if you've seen them, but when you played Little League, oftentimes you saw two different kinds of bats. The aluminum bats oftentimes would be thin on the handle, and then they got this big, wider sweet spot all the way up the barrel. I remember my son was playing travel ball, my oldest boy, and he had one of these bats. And the way the ball sounds coming off the bat is amazing. I compared it to my aluminum bat. I don't know why I still have it when I was a kid. But I had an Easton, and it was just straight as you can get. My son's, it came and it kind of bowed out a little bit. I'm exaggerating here on the stream, but that's the way it was. That's what it looks like to me. If you put the bats side by side, a regular Yankees bat, Aaron Judge's bat, he doesn't use
you can definitely tell.
And then you see the torpedo bat, you can tell the difference. That torpedo bat is used by Bellinger. It's used by Jazz Chisholm. Jazz Chisholm had 2 homers yesterday. He's got 3 on the year. It's used by Anthony Volpe. And by the way, they're not the only other team. They're not the only team that uses it either. I should just make mention of that. I don't like the Yankees. You don't like the Yankees. I understand that. That's fine by me. They are not the only team to use it. Other teams have used it. All right. You've got pitchers out there ripping on the Yankees because the Yankees are the team that has made it so obvious. And they're the ones who have an MIT physicist named Lenny who kind of brought this to life. And the Yankees have taken advantage of it. But as I mentioned, they're not the only team to do that. Baseball, they go through rule. I mean, there's a specific rule in baseball. It's called Rule 3.02. A bat shall be a smooth, round stick, not more than 2.61 inches in diameter at the thickest part and not more than 42 inches in length. The bat shall be one piece of solid wood. Experimental bats cannot be used until the manufacturer has secured approval from Major League Baseball on the design and the methods of the manufacturer. So that's what Major League Baseball has told. I'm giving you the rule, MLB Rule 3.02. Before we get into, oh, it's illegal and they're only doing it because it's the Yankees and so on and so forth, they've taken advantage of it. They've used it to their advantage, but they're not the only team who has done it, okay? But it is going to be a problem moving forward, especially, and they've got 15 bombs in 3 games. They had 9 in 1 game. Aaron Judge already has 4 homers. Jazz Chisholm already has 3 homers. He had 2 yesterday. So I think there's going to be a bit of an issue for Major League Baseball and what they're going to have to do for it or do to it or about it. And the other thing is, when you have other players coming out, look, they got 20 runs the other day. Not all of them on home runs, but they had 9 homers. That's a franchise record. And they've been around a long time. Xander Bogaerts, an infielder. I thought it was a joke at first. You know how you can edit pictures these days? But I saw Chisholm homered. Yeah. I'd never seen it before, never heard of it. I thought they edited the picture because I've never seen anything like it. Chisholm's, I think his career high is 19 home runs. I'm not saying he's going to stay on this pace. I'm just letting you know. Manny Machado, he noticed it. I have no idea what they are, he said during an interview. They should send over a few here. I'll be starting hitting homers like that. So whoever's making them, they can send a few over to Petco with this big ballpark in need of it. This is going to continue to be a theme. Orioles hitting coach, Cody Ash. Where you hit the ball, put some more mass in the sweet spot. I think that's not something that's unique to the Yankees. I think a lot of teams are doing that around the league. Yankees may have some more players that have adopted it at a higher rate, but I think that you're around the clubhouse, all 30 teams, you would see a guy or two that's kind of adopting a bat that's kind of fashioned more specifically to their swing. It's not just the Yankees, folks. But because they're the quote-unquote evil empire, it's an easy thing to complain about New York. The bigger problem, the bigger question, I should say, is what will Major League Baseball do about it, if anything? And should they do something about it? It's going to be a constant theme. It is all season long. If you see these torpedo bats, look, some Orioles players have dabbled in it. Some Orioles players have done it too. White Sox manager Will Venable, he first heard about it just the other day. And he said, I think that everyone across the league probably now is going to look into using them. So if they're available to everybody, is it a big deal? Just because one team was in on it early doesn't mean that they're wrong. Quickly, let's get to the final results of our poll question and the daily wager. The poll question for you from Friday was, outside the Tigers, which team has the best home uniforms? Dodgers, Yankees, Cardinals, or other? What was the final result?
The Cardinals won 35%. 27% said the Yanks, 20% said the Dodgers, 18% said other.
What do you think would be in the other?
I think, I don't know. I mean, maybe the Royals. I know you mentioned that on Friday. I think the Royals have nice uniforms. I think there are probably some Cubs fans out there that would go to bat for their uniforms.
I would say the Red Sox. I think a lot of people would probably say the Red Sox.
Puke.
That's the only one I can think of. I think the Cubs are puke. All right. Daily wager. How'd you do Friday, and what do you got for us tonight?
Friday, we had Michigan +9, so that concluded a horrendous week. Wow. Michigan did not cover the 9. In
the words of Bob Seger, turn the page.
That's right. So we're going to turn the page quickly. I will take Tigers money line tonight. They have to get in the win column. They're +105, so it's even money. You bet $5, you win $5. Take the Tigers tonight.
Jackson Jobe against Emerson Hancock when we come back at 8:18. We've got your hero and heel from the weekend on X's and Bros. Stay with us.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at Freddie FreddyThePizzaMan.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit FreddyThePizzaMan.com to make a donation and to learn more about the Foundation's mission. That's FREDI, thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
No sticks, no pucks, no goals, and no holds barred. It's Bare Knuckles Ice Walls, coming to Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort Saturday, June 14th. 900 square foot ice box, 90-second rounds, 2 combat fighters, and they're on skates. Bare Knuckles Ice Walls. Tickets starting at $50. On sale now at boxofficeoragents.com. History in the making. June 14th at Soaring Eagle. Doors at 6. Show at SoaringEagleCasino.com. Bare Knuckles Ice Walls. Who needs a pub?
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
There's a new player in town. Hi, I'm Herman Moore, Lions All-Pro wide receiver, and I'm talking about Eagle Casino and Sports, the real money mobile casino. It's so easy to play. You can go from wager to winner to wallet, just like that.
Sign up now and we'll match your deposit up to $1,500. Or you can get a risk-free bet up to $1,000.
Eagle Casino and Sports, made in Michigan, made for Michigan.
Must be 21 or older and in Michigan to play.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The huge show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
18 after the hour. Welcome back, X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. Thanks for listening wherever it may be. Cadillac, WKD, The Ticket 93.7 FM. In Petoskey and Charlevoix, WMBN 104.7 FM, The Ticket Northern Michigan. Maybe you're in Lansing with us, WVFN AM, 7:30 a.m. The Game. Good friends there. Always enjoy it. Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Holland. They're listening on WMAX 96.1 FM, The Game. In Traverse City, WKD 93.7 FM, The Ticket. Or maybe you're streaming us live on X at XB Mornings. Maybe it's on Facebook or on YouTube at X's and Bros. Whatever the case may be, thanks for spending some of your Monday with us. Every Monday at 8:18, we give you our hero and heels. My hero is the Western Michigan hockey team. Broncos into the Frozen Four for the first time ever. They won the Fargo region after a 2-1 win over the University of Massachusetts 2 days after beating Minnesota State 2-1 in double overtime. There were a lot of overtime games in the NCAA hockey tournament. Head coach Pat Frischweiler, who played on 3 NCAA tournament teams at Western Michigan, has his team with 32 wins. Nobody, by the way, in the country has more wins. No college hockey program has more wins than the Western Michigan University Broncos.
Remarkable.
So kudos to them. I mean, I think that is so cool. You look at what they've been able to do. They're a team, by the way, they're a team. I know you can look at their competition all you want. They average almost 4 goals a game. This game against Denver will be very interesting because Denver averages 4 goals a game. Western averages 3.95 goals a game during the regular season. So first ever NCHC tournament title. Now the first ever Frozen Four in a couple of weeks in St. Louis. Are going to play Denver in the semis because Matt Davis and the Pioneers, Matt Davis is their goalie. He had 35 saves in their 3-1 win over Boston College. The other semifinal will feature a first-timer as well. That's Penn State, and Penn State will take on Boston University. I am super excited for this. Good luck to the Broncos. It is going to be awesome, and I hope they pack St. Louis with a lot of brown and gold, although I guess they're a little black these days. I would say brown and gold for Western. But the Broncos are my hero.
Believe it or not, I'm going to stay in college hockey, Shep. My hero is David Brazil, defenseman, captain for the Maine Black Bears. He's a Granville native. He's a proud Bulldog. Nice. He's a proud West Michigander. I know David. I know him well. We grew up together. He's in my fantasy league. We do this golf trip every summer, and he unfortunately was the one guy out of the 16 that couldn't make it because he plays Division I hockey. So
when you say he's a proud Bulldog, what does that mean?
Granville Bulldogs.
Granville. Okay.
Yes. Gotcha.
Because Maine is the Black Bears. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. Thank you for the clarification. Maine lost 5-1 on Friday night to Penn State, but they finished the season. He played well. They finished the season 24-8-6.
Do you and your buddies get together and watch him on a regular basis?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
good,
absolutely.
Good. Do you and your buddies text him? Hey, nice game.
Yeah. I just chatted with him last week. We had him on, me and my buddy, side tangent. We do a podcast together and we had him on the show. And it was kind of funny because we made it like he's our big ticket guest, but it's like he's just our friend that we grew up with.
Right.
So that was really fun. But super proud of them. Maine finishes their season 24-8-6. It's their most win in nearly 20 years. Dave had a plus 15 plus minus on the season.
Nice.
Like I said, he's a defenseman and the captain for the team. And Maine, by the way, is back on top of the college hockey world.
So if he's a captain too. Did he get drafted?
I don't know what his college hockey future looks like. I will circle back on that, but I can't wait to see.
I mean, he's got to get some looks, right?
Yes. No, I know he's gotten looks. I don't know what, it's all too fresh right now. So I don't. He has not been drafted, but he might be.
So he didn't go drafted, which is no big deal. I mean, those things happen. Not everyone's who gets drafted is the best. Hi, Philip Zadina. And not all those who didn't get drafted. I mean, there's plenty of guys who didn't get drafted and have been really, really good. So
good point.
That is awesome. I'm really happy for him. And I'd love to know more about it. I know he goes on your podcast. It'd be great to have him on this show once in a while too. Good for him. How about the heel? My heel is Rafael Devers. The Red Sox third baseman turned designated hitter set a dubious major league record of over the weekend. First of all, he went 0 for 4 with 2 punch-outs on Sunday, and the Red Sox lost to the Rangers. Jacob deGrom was pretty good, actually. So Devers is off to an 0 for 16 start with 12 strikeouts to start the year. Devers' 10 punch-outs in the first 3 games of a season is now a record, according to Sport Radar. 5 other players had recorded 9 strikeouts in a team's first 3 games. So he stands alone. This guy is a 3-time All-Star. He's a 2-time Silver Slugger winner. Here's the big concern. He's faced 75% fastballs, swung at 20, and missed 14 of them.
Wow.
That's 70%. Now, it's not like he's really old. He's 28. He's not going to be – it's not one of those situations like, oh, man, father time. It's Paul Goldschmidt. It's catching up with him. Paul Goldschmidt with a homer the other day. Sorry, it's not going to happen. Christian Walker. No.
Salvador Perez.
It's not one of those types of situations. But there is some concern eventually if this trend continues for Rafael Devers. Remember, he was already seen in a negative light because of the acquisition of Alex Bregman and his stance, Devers' stance, I'm the third baseman. Sure, he may be the worst defensive third baseman in baseball. Numbers would bear that out. Now he's the designated hitter, and you could argue, at least for the first 3 games, he's the worst designated hitter in baseball. So Rafael Devers is my heel of the weekend.
That's a good pick. And coming from you, that is some rich stuff there on baseball. But my heel, I'll make this quick. Stephen A. Smith. I'm so over this LeBron story. And it's just, I get it. LeBron can be overbearing and annoying, but he's LeBron James.
So
You're
what?
Stephen A. Smith.
So what?
Shut up.
Wait a minute. Why
am I forced to care about Stephen A. Smith in this story?
You're the one bringing it up.
The 4-letter network is shoving it down our throats.
Well, you're right. You're right about. They've also shoved LeBron James down our throats forever.
But he's LeBron.
So what?
He plays the game. That makes sense.
But you understand what the beef is about, right?
Yeah, I get it.
LeBron James was pissed because Stephen A. Smith said something you and I said about Bronny James. That if he weren't LeBron's son, he would not have been drafted.
Yeah, but I understand LeBron's
okay.
He got angry about it. He got angry about it because Stephen A. Smith questioned him as a father.
No, he didn't. That's not what he did.
He said, as a father, you have to stop doing this, is what he said.
What?
And LeBron took offense to that, and I understand.
This is anybody else other than your favorite player, you're saying good for you.
No, I'm not. Because
if it's not Stephen A. Smith, if it's somebody local, if it's our friend Jack Ebling, and he's saying that about somebody other than you're going good for you, Jack.
But Shep, did you see Stephen A. Smith saying, if you would have put his hands on me, I would have swung on him?
Well,
what are we doing here? You're a member of the media.
You know
You're talking about LeBron James.
I think he's an absolute blowhard. But you know what we're doing? We're giving it more credence by talking about it. I'm guilty of it too.
That's correct. You're right about that.
I am guilty of this stuff all the time. I'm not taking a shot at you or anybody else. Yes, ESPN shoves it down our throat. They shove LeBron James down our throat constantly.
Yeah, you're right. I should shut up about it. I'm sick of hearing about it.
I'm with you on that. I'm sick of hearing about him. He's now dipped his toe into political discussion, and that's okay. Sage Steele does it at ESPN. She gets fired, right? Or she gets suspended.
Yeah, good point.
Stephen A. Smith does it. Bravo for you. Way to expound your boundaries. Good job by you. No, there's no double standard. And there's a double standard in sports too. LeBron James, this whole bull crap. This guy has gotten away with everything for his entire life because people are afraid of him. Stephen A. Smith isn't. Stephen A. Smith thinks he's bigger than he really is. All right, final segment when we come back. X's and Bros here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
You're listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network. And if you missed any of today's show, be sure to check out our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you find your podcasts to find the greatest hits from every day's show.
Coming right at you. The excitement you've been waiting for. Eagle Casino and Sports. The mobile casino made in Michigan, made for Michigan. Play slots and table games with live dealers at one exciting site. PlayEagle.com. Sign up today and get a match deposit up to $1,500. That's right, up to $1,500 plus 100 free spins. Eagle Casino and Sports. Go to PlayEagle.com and start winning today. Must be 21 or older and in Michigan to play.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The Huge Show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
I mean, obviously, you're frustrated. That instance is one of those things where, when you play the way that we play, you earn a reputation. You're going to be tested. But, you regret, obviously, where all of it took place. That's not something you ever want to see happen. But, again, I thought our guys stood their ground and defended each other and had each other's back. And those are non-negotiables in our locker room.
Really good stuff from Jamie Bickerstaff. Well played. And exactly, I think, what a lot of fans are thinking. Welcome back. X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9:35 after the hour. This after, 7 people were rejected in the Pistons Timberwolves game from last night at the Target Center. A game at the time at the 8:36 mark, 8:36 left. In the second quarter, Detroit was up 39-30. They're one game away, or it's a combination of two, to clinch a playoff spot, which is inevitable. You and I both know that.
Yeah.
They are a team, more and more fan bases. I don't know when it shifted, but I think more and more fan bases are looking at the Detroit Pistons right now and going, wouldn't want to play them. Would not want to play them in the first round. It's one of the biggest compliments you can get as a team, right? Everyone else is like, well, Cleveland's got a bullseye on their back. They've got 60 wins, third time in franchise history. Everybody looks at OKC. They've got a bullseye on their back. Maybe Denver to a certain extent because they've won a championship before and they've got a 3-time MVP, Nikola Jokic, and look at the stuff that he's done. Did you see that behind-the-back pass? Did you see that shot put of a 3/4 court buzzer beater that allowed him to pick up a 3-point play? There's a lot of teams out there where you're looking at it. Boston's the defending champs. Of course, they're going to be in the mix. Many fans are looking at it right now. Anything we can do to avoid Detroit. That's a team that I don't necessarily want to play. And remember, Detroit had their 3-game winning streak snapped last night. Cade Cunningham's been out.
Yeah.
This is a team that has found some resiliency. And I love that about them. I think
they beat Cleveland without Cade Cunningham. That's insane. I mean, I know Cleveland's been sliding lately.
Who would have thought of that?
No, me. I didn't even watch a second of the game.
And I don't care if they've been sliding. They got 60 knockouts, man.
Yeah,
that's still impressive. They're still the best team in the East, at least statistic-wise. I know the previous 2 times they won 60 games or more, they lost. They didn't even reach the NBA Finals. My point is, this is a resilient team that has shown an awful lot of character in so many different ways. I didn't think they showed that last night. Already out Cade Cunningham, already without Tobias Harris. And I'm all for sticking up for guys. I'm a big believer in loyalty. I am loyal to the people who are with me.
You're fiercely loyal.
I have always been that person, and I always will be. It gets me in a lot of trouble. It does. I don't care what people think. It's true, but there are certain people I'm going to battle for, and I don't care what happens. All right, no matter what. I've got one of my best friends. I don't talk to him as much as I used to, or like I'd like to. But when my father died, he was there every single day. He missed as much time at work as I did, because that's the true friend. Okay, guys like Kirk Gibson is somebody. I'm sorry, I'm dying on that hill. We've all got hills we've got to die on. All right, you got to pick the right hill that's right for you. There are certain hills I'm going to die on. The Pistons feel like that is one of their core beliefs. It's their pillars, right? How many pillars do you have in your family? How many core beliefs do you have in your family? The Pistons, one of them is, hey, we're going to stand up for one another. I applaud that. I think it's awesome. I'd be a hypocrite if I thought it was anything other than that. But there does come a point in time when you must realize your best player is in street clothes. Another starter is in street clothes. You're already short-handed. By getting in a fight, and this is not a technical foul. It's not a high screen. Ooh, look at that screen he put. Ooh, sorry, he tried to climb over the top and threw an elbow. Sorry, that's a flagrant foul. But one more and you're done. That's not the case. When you're throwing punches and you're shoving guys into the first row, you know what comes with that. So I'm all for standing up for guys, but fighting when you're 2 starters down and then you end up losing 3 guys in the process, that is not, and your head coach, that is not the recipe for success. Now, maybe it's a short-term situation where you feel like short-term wise, who cares? I think it can turn into long-term. It'll be interesting to see how many games Ron Holland gets, how many games Marcus Sasser gets, how many games Isaiah Stewart gets. I don't give a crap how many games Naz Reid gets or Dante DiVincenzo. That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is what the Pistons have to deal with now moving forward. And I don't think they were thinking. Personally, I can't say that I wouldn't have done the same thing. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite. It's not my job, though. It's not what I get paid to do. You have to recognize those things. You have to understand those things and act accordingly. I'm all for being tough. I'm all for being physical. I want more physicality in the NBA. I'm the guy who sits there and complains constantly that it was better back in my day, right? You don't want me to be old man, get off my lawn, and yet you're the one sitting there going, this is great because they're physical. They're like the bad boys. Guess what? You're turning into old guy. I'm the one sitting here trying to tell you this has got to be better. This has got to be different. And there comes a place and a point in time where you have to withhold things, withhold those emotions, withhold that type of physicality to make sure you got a chance for the broader goal, the bigger scope of things, and winning the basketball game. Let's go to the phone lines. The Meyer Hotline, 866-838-4843. Who do we got on this Monday?
Freddie has a hero and heel, and he also has some Tigers thoughts.
Hi, Freddie. Good morning to you. Hope you had a good weekend.
You too, Shep. But you look 35, so you're not the old man. Get off my lawn.
Yeah. Well,
so you're in good shape.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Not many people would agree.
Anyways, who cares if the people don't agree? That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
So anyway, Shep, I have a Pistons take for you, and I got a totally opposite end of the spectrum, hero and hero for you. Okay.
All right. Good. Yeah.
Now, you brought up Western Michigan. Pat, the head coach, is a friend of mine, so that's an obvious one. I'm going to give it to Pat. You gave it to Western Michigan. I'm going to give it to Pat. Great
He's
job.
He's a friend of yours? He's a friend of yours?
Yes.
Well, why don't you text him and say, what the hell's going on? Why won't you join our show?
Oh, I get it. I get it. I get it for you. Absolutely.
Yeah, good.
Anyways, so the heel for me is also, if you don't mind me, a hero, all the party store owners in Western, they must be sold out of beer right now. Absolutely.
I don't know if that's possible, but they're probably pretty close.
And heel for me is all the haters that went after Kirk Gibson because he threw out the first pitch in a Dodgers uniform. I mean, these Tigers fans, you crack me up. He played for both teams, and he was a hero in both towns, and LA embraces him. Shut your mouth. I mean, how stupid. I couldn't believe that people were upset that he threw out the first pitch, and I don't think it's the first time he's done that.
It's not. No, I said that the very next day. I said,
yeah,
the Dodgers have had him throw out the first pitch more than the Tigers. He's more beloved in Los Angeles than he is in Detroit. They've got a mural of him out there in LA. He's in the Dodgers Hall of Fame. Of course, if the Tigers knew what they were doing and did anything right, they would have their own Hall of Fame, but they don't. So I think it's kind of ridiculous that people would be upset. I think they were more upset that he wore a Dodgers jersey than he did throw out the first pitch. And you're right. I think there's a lot of people who are like, just throw out the first pitch for game 2. Oh, now you're making the rules. When your organization comes out and says, hey, will you do this for us? Do you go, I don't think that's a good look on opening day. Why don't we do it game 2? The Dodgers had this big thing planned. Freddie Freeman, Kirk Gibson, as hokey as it may have been, they're getting their ring ceremony. They've turned the page on a championship, and they wanted to do it by recognizing him. I think that's great.
Yeah, Tigers fans, I mean, they want him to wear a Tiger jersey throwing out the first pitch in L.A. Just pretty stupid. But
can you imagine? Let me ask you this. Imagine going to Little Caesars Arena, and they're honoring Ben Wallace or Dennis Rodman. Let's use Dennis Rodman. And Dennis Rodman comes out in a Chicago Bulls or San Antonio Spurs jersey. How do you think Detroit fans would respond?
He'd be booed.
Yeah,
He'd be booed.
It's ridiculous. It is. It's
Yeah,
so stupid. So Justin Verlander is going to get at some point honored in Houston. Do you think he should come out in a Detroit Tigers uniform?
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
I just don't know where their head is at. They're just not logical.
Yeah.
We've lost all ability to be logical in our society.
No, they haven't won, and they're blaming the wrong people. But anyways, on the Pistons, the fight actually happened at a really good time because Saturday night, I actually sat down and watched the 30 for 30 with the Celtics versus the Lakers. And those were two teams, Shep, I don't have to tell you, absolutely hated each other.
Yeah.
And when they fought, it wasn't. See, what bothers me is I heard kind of the same things you talked about earlier today. Was the these players are angry. These players today are different than they are when the bad boys were around. These guys actually were angry because they hated the other team. There was a true rivalry there. These players today are angry because of what they see on social media.
Do you think it's fake? Do you think a lot of guys are fake tough guys?
Oh, I believe that, but I think the social media has made them that way because they look at social media and there's a guy that has 3 followers say something bad about them, and that's what they take on the court. Yeah. They take that aggression on the court because of what somebody says. But Bill Laimbeer wasn't upset because of somebody on Twitter. He was upset because he hated the Boston Celtics and he hated losing. These players don't hate losing. I mean, let me take that back. Most of these players don't hate losing because the money doesn't allow them to think that way. It was bad. It was different.
It's a really
hated the other team.
It's a really good point.
Thanks,
I appreciate you very much. Yeah, I said this the other day. In 1980, the highest paid player had $1 million, made $1 million. Remember when Trent doesn't, but Magic Johnson once signed a 25-year deal worth like $25 million. People thought it was unbelievable. They couldn't comprehend it. Steph Curry's making $56 million this year.
Dak Prescott makes 60. I know it's a different sport, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, and not all. Not all that's guaranteed. Okay, it's different. Football and basketball are completely different.
Yeah, that's true.
Basketball, it's guaranteed. All right. Jason Tatum will be the highest paid player as of right now, anyway. In 3 years, he's going to make $71 million. Okay, so it's much different. I don't know what made. Yeah, I think there were better rivalries. I think there was the guys today. Isaiah Stewart is probably old school, and that's why we should really like him. But it's really hard to duplicate the tough guys of years gone by. It just is. I mean, Wes Unseld was a badass. I don't think I've seen a guy in the NBA who could have been as tough as Wes Unseld.
And it was just a much more physical era. So by nature, there's going to be more tough guys in the league, right? I mean, because that's how they're raised.
You're not going to be able to out muscle and out tough guy Charles Oakley, Rick Mahorn, and I'm not trying to compare today's players to them. I just think sometimes we have to be very careful when we start to talk about the physicality of today's league and associating it with the bad boys when the bad boys played in an era where there were a lot of tough guys, but they were legitimate tough guys. I mean, we're talking about Xavier McDaniel, as I mentioned, Charles Oakley, Charles Barkley was a tough dude, all these guys, right? I find it very interesting, though, that we're willing to sacrifice a game like that if it were somebody else. I truly believe this. If it were somebody else, and we're looking at it from afar, what we're doing is we're going, you know what? That guy's undisciplined. Shame on them. They don't know what they're doing. See, when Laimbeer and Mahorn and those guys did it, you talk about the softness of the league, and for sure. I mean, every league has gotten softer. Look at the hits on quarterbacks. But those guys weren't getting kicked out of games. They're getting technical fouls. They weren't getting kicked out of games.
But isn't that somewhat
Today,
subjective for the referees, though? Because, I mean, they could have thrown those guys out a lot more than they did. Do you think that's just...
But that tells you about the league. I think
do you think that's just a softer society nowadays?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay. No, I agree with you there. I just wanted to
really
get
too bad. It really is. It's really too bad that it's become... I mean, you're criticized for being... You're criticized for being a tough guy in society.
Yes.
You're criticized for being a manly man and all that other stuff. But
what I was saying is guys literally threw punches in the 80s and would get nothing. I mean, they wouldn't get thrown out.
Well, yeah.
They'd get fined maybe after the game.
They get fined in technicals. I wouldn't say they didn't commit anything.
But they wouldn't get thrown out.
They would at times, but I mean, the tolerance was much larger, wider,
Good way to
whatever
put it.
word you want. It was a much more tolerant league than it is right now. I'm not saying it's better. For me, it's better. For me, I enjoyed it more. I'm not into basketball players, fighting and so on and so forth. But, Isaiah Thomas pushing Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas getting an elbow from Karl Malone, for crying out loud, and still staying in the game. It's different. And I would argue it was better then, even though you'll get today's millennials going, they could never do what these guys are doing. Yeah. Okay, in certain situations, you're probably right. Guess what? The guys playing today could never do what those guys did and what they had to go through.
Yeah, appreciate each era for what it is, right?
Absolutely, without a doubt. But it is very interesting how we view this, because I think what you're going to hear, you probably heard it a little bit last night on social media. Today, you'll hear about it constantly, about the pride Detroit has in that type of situation, about what was done last night. Okay. It's not that I'm not prideful, because I love the toughness. I love the tenacity, and I love the fact that they stick up for one another. But I would also like people to recognize the situation a little bit better and realize that, we need some wins and we need all hands on deck. And you're not going to have them now. Those three guys, Stewart, Sasser, Holland, will be missing some time. And if Cade Cunningham doesn't come back anytime soon and Tobias Harris doesn't, suddenly you're shorthanded big time. Our thanks to your texts, our thanks to your phone calls. As always, we appreciate you taking some time.